Over the past several months, we have had a team of researchers examining city finances. And while we are still in this process of compiling the information, we suspect that there is $2.1 billion in potential surplus money.
Residents are frustrated because they do not know how funds generated by such things as the sale of public assets, like the parking meters, have been allocated, or how those funds are helping life in their neighborhoods during these tough times. This is an important moment in Chicago's history. It's time to give residents a full accounting of Chicago's finances. That's the first step. That's the first step we need in really creating a recovery for working families.
Chicago families, neighborhoods, and the city government are all struggling. We owe our residents, especially in these difficult times, open and transparent government.
There is $1.1 billion in uncommitted and unobligated TIF funds. This is based on the most recent audits from 2007.
We understand that there may be up to $1 billion in assets sitting somewhere for the residents of the city of Chicago. We understand that these are rainy day funds. So in our neighborhoods where we're dealing with foreclosure, we're dealing with potholes, we're dealing with cuts in city services, I would call this a hurricane, not just a rainy day.
More than 15,000 properties across Illinois, most of them in Chicago, received foreclosure filings in March of 2009. This is up almost 80% from last year. Unemployment in Chicago has risen to 9% last month. And we know historically that those numbers will be higher in the Latino and African American communities.
We have a lot of issues impacting our community, and yet we keep hearing about city cuts. We keep hearing that the budget just isn't as balanced as it should be. We keep hearing that there is no money to balance it. Well then, who's doing it? This is our home, and our home, it's being sold off. Well, someone is selling it, and someone is holding on to this money. So please, let's find it.
There is $500 million from the asset sales of the Skyway, which is based on the last annual audit done by the city. And there is $500 million in uncommitted funds from the leasing of the parking meters based on the contract approved by the city.
What we're doing is selling off income streams, not just for our generation, but for our children and our grandchildren. These leases are, 75, 99 years, whatever. So it's not just the folks in Chicago now, but future generations who are being deprived of the income from these assets. So I think there's a growing feeling in the city council that these kind of asset sales, particularly being turned around on a dime, are not in the city's interest.
If I came home one day and my husband had sold all my furniture, all of my assets, and then my gas was cut off because he didn't pay the bill after he received the money, that would piss me off. So as citizens of Chicago, Skyway, gone. Parking garages, gone. Midway, gone. Where's the money? And why are we using those dollars to help the working families in Chicago?
We owe it to the citizens of Chicago, to the residents of Chicago, to be honest with them about where the funds actually are. We've talked about rainy day funds and whether or not those can be tapped. And I think we need a more detailed look at the budget. What we get is press releases saying this is the gross amount that we're now in deficit, but there's no detail given about why we're in this position or what plans the mayor has to move forward except to lay off people.
Why is the mayor complaining? Why are other city officials complaining that Chicago is just not where it should be? Let's get it together and let's do something about it.